This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, I'm going to call the November 18th Public Safety Building Committee meeting to order. The meeting is being recorded. Open time for the public.
My name is Angela Kelso, and I work for Skanska, and we are an OPM. And we're interested in your project, and I was just here to learn a little bit about where you are in the process. I'm actually from Westfield, and I raised my kids here, so I have a personal kind of connection to the town. And so I went online and I tried to see what I could find out just about where you were in the process, and I did get a little bit of information about the feasibility study, and I guess we were just looking to see if you guys had made a determination on what delivery method you'd be using, should you move forward with a project, if it was going to be like a general contract or a CM at risk, if you're at that point in the discussion yet.
I'll take it just from Chris Fowles from the select board. Probably not yet at that discussion level.
Okay.
We're at the next step, which is really the land use planner.
Okay.
So that's where we are. We acquired the land as a couple months ago.
Sure.
And so the land use planner is going to be our next major entity engaged, I guess I would say, and that we're envisioning that to be probably closer to an 8-month process.
Okay.
6 to 8 months, maybe. We can make it happen that fast. But we want a lot of community engagement and so forth on that. So we haven't gotten to that point, but yes, we will be needing an OPM at some point in time.
All right,
So
that's great to hear.
Yeah.
And we're definitely interested, and
Yeah.
that's something, I've worked on a number of public projects, and that's one of the things that we like to, include as part of our services is the community outreach as well. So I just, again, wanted to come and say hello and see where you guys were at, and if you want, I can leave my business card.
Yeah, sure.
And,
Yeah.
should we have an opportunity in the future to meet again, it would be my pleasure.
Mhm. Very good. We'll probably talk a little bit more about the feasibility study today. We're in the final stages, I would say, getting there.
Lots of big decisions.
Yes, indeed.
So I'll leave this for you.
Sure, perfect.
And thank you for your time.
All right,
Thank you.
well,
Thank you.
All right. And Jeanette Kelso. So when we're ready, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, I wish we were.
I know, I wish we were. Well, hang out for Scott. Okay, good.
All right, we'll review the minutes from October
21st.
21st. Have Mark sent them out? Has everyone read them?
I found it.
I can move to accept as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That was unanimous, thank you.
Good job.
All right, land planning update. So we need to wait. Chris, can you give us an update, or should we wait for Scott on that?
On the truck.
Land planning update.
I think he'll be here in a few minutes. Yeah, why don't you just wait for him, and if he doesn't show up in another 15 minutes, I can punt.
All right.
I know what little I know, but yeah, he knows more details than I do.
Okay. Help me out here.
And the next is the feasibility study revision update, so that's Scott as well.
That's Scott. Task
And then
7.
The final approval of task 7 summary.
Right. So that, do we have, Chief made the corrections, the adjustments according to the committee's wishes? Can we?
No, I never made them. You
I don't
said you
remember
were going to make them.
I thought you sent it out again.
No,
No.
you took down the notes and you said you would make them.
I did say that, and then within a day, you sent something out around task 7. I have not done that. I assume Chief did it, but I will do it very promptly.
You sent out the feasibility study first.
Priya.
I did.
Yes.
I did
Yeah,
that.
yes, the preamble. Not the task 7, no.
Oh, then that's my mistake. So I guess we move on from that. My apologies for that. I did say that, Chief. I thought you jumped on it, though, when I wrote to say that I couldn't do it because I was going away immediately, and then you sent something out, and so anyway, just my misunderstanding. I will attend to that with great promptness. All right, so I think the next thing was the preface, the feasibility study preface draft.
Yeah.
Comments on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna repeat Barry's email. I thought it was fantastic.
Yep.
And it was really well written, and I think it said, in my opinion, said what it needed to be said.
Spot on. Yep.
Just one comment, I totally ditto that, I think it's great. Just the next to the last paragraph where you talk about costs, and I know you'll be inserting, numbers into the blank $ pieces. I think it would be just strong if you could include in that very last sentence, it says the projected cost for delaying until 2029 is blank and will only grow higher as each year passes. What about putting a predicted percentage? Because I think that's supplied by HKT, they've
What was
given us
that,
numbers.
12 or 14%?
I thought they said
Something like that.
8%. I thought it was 8%.
I don't remember, they
Annual,
did say,
I think
they
it
did
was-
have a
I
percentage.
thought it was higher than 8%,
Really?
but let's double check on that. Because it's not 1%. It's, if you did the numbers, it's gonna keep going up, and that's, I
Mhm.
think it would just strengthen it just a teeny bit, you put that percentage in.
Okay.
That better? You need your drugs, just see me, I got them.
Well, that can't be finalized until the whole feasibility study is complete,
Yeah.
right, with the addendum. So I think we don't need to do anything more with it until the work is done by HKT, and then I guess then we approve it, we'll vote to approve it at that time. Do we need to do that, Chris, do you think?
You may as well just to do that. But I think the addendum, I mean, the basic report, because now we've done that, well, with the task, was it task 7 that we were including, right? So we haven't, we talked about it last time, but we didn't have the final language for that, I guess, right? So I was thinking that the main report, that it would include task 7 in this preamble, HKT, I mean, that's basically the report. What we're paying them for going forward is the addendum.
Right.
So, I mean, they could have this as soon as we want to give it to them, and get it
Right.
off of our hands, and all they're focusing on. Because as they're putting the whole report together, I mean, I don't know if we'll get a draft final report that would include everything except the addendum, or not, I don't know what's coming at us.
I think we have the draft final. But in the preface, I think I implied that the addendum would be part of the package that we were submitting.
To the town, or to the, submitting to,
Yeah, for public record.
yeah.
We're not gonna supply the whole report to the town until we have the addendum. That's the understanding? We're not gonna start.
Well, that's what I was thinking, since it
Yeah.
would imply, it would give the wrong impression
Right.
of the
Yeah.
cost.
But if we're happy with the preamble or whatever, why not just give it, approve it and give it to HKT so they have it?
Oh, I see what you're
That's all
saying.
I'm saying, yeah, that's all I'm saying. Otherwise,
Fine
we'll
by
forget to
me.
come back and
Does someone
do
want
something.
to make it?
Do we wanna have a reference to the addendum once complete in this preface? or-
I did put it there. I said,
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess, well, you need to fill in figures, so I suppose
Oh, I see.
those are figures that HKT
they
has to
can
add.
fill in, so.
So they won't get those until the modified
Right.
plan has been
Correct.
finished. So those are a long time
Yeah, no,
off.
that's true, okay. It doesn't matter to me one way or another. I mean, if they were the ones to fill in the figures, I was just thinking, one less thing that we have to remember to get done. But, that's fine.
It's fine if you want to approve it now, but I'll make the adjustment that Cindy recommended. If you want to approve them, then it can be submitted, but they, as I say, they won't be able to set those figures until, what, who knows how long.
I don't have a problem with submitting it to them.
Okay.
I don't have a problem approving it because, yeah, you're right, they're gonna have to plug the numbers in, but at least they'll have it.
All right, so may I have a motion to, well, do we need to wait and approve it after I've made that small adjustment in it, or do you want to just go ahead? Okay.
Just go ahead.
May I have
Go
a
ahead.
motion to approve the preface to the feasibility study?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor? Oh, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, passed unanimously. All right, I think actually we're down to other business, aren't we, Chief?
The brochure,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
yes.
What about the
I
brochure?
called, actually, I spoke with John on Friday to find out the status of it. He said it is in the process, it's at the facility to send it out. It just, things got held up because of the election. So it's kind of held back a little bit. So he estimated that it should be out sometime either late this week or early next week. I mean, that's what he told me.
Okay.
He said everything's submitted to them, and it's now just waiting on the who he subcontracts for the postage.
Okay, great. Anything else regarding outreach? I think we agreed last time there's not much outreach to be done. Charlie brought up a point. You want to toss that out into the atmosphere?
Yeah. Last week I was at a conference and we had some senior people from Boston come out to talk to us about public health. But the underlying theme of the whole conversation was about the Commonwealth worried about what kind of revenues they're going to receive from the federal government in the coming years. And the unknown that's out there and how the state is going to take and try to adjust their budgets to maintain services that we're accustomed to because of all the funding that may not show up from the federal government. Now that opens the flip side of this, and that's the fact that right now we're not aware of any funding that would help us with this project. It's possible that with this change of the government in Washington, that there might become monies available to do projects like these that are not right now available. So that puts us in one of these strange positions in my mind where I was explaining this to Cindy, was that maybe, I mean, we're moving forward in what we're doing and that's fine, but we really need to wait until like February or March to sort of get a handle on if there's going to be some other additional monies we could tap for this program. Not that I'm saying that's going to happen, but it's very obvious everything is changing.
I can add a couple words because I've been working on this today on the grant perspective. So not last year, but 2 years ago, we put in the expression of interest for the one-stop grant, which is usually in January-ish, and then the application, I forget, it's April, May, or something like that. And we put in a full application for the public safety complex at that time, which was fiscal 24, I think it was, maybe 23 even, curious. And we didn't get anywhere with it, but that was because we were really writing sort of in an imaginary world. We didn't have the land, we didn't know exactly what was happening, and so we were writing on theoretical stuff. So it was really hard to craft a grant application about what we wanted. We were trying to get money for the basic pre-construction architectural drawings permitting phase, and I think it was, I forget how much it was we were asking for. And we followed up on that with Senator Markey, Senator Warren, Congressman Neal, et cetera. Didn't get too far. So anyway, just to say, that happened. So the one-stop grant will be coming up again in the early winter for the expression of interest. I would assume we would go back again with the expression of interest, similar for what we've done in the past. I think we're in a much better position this time because we know where the land is, and we know, we'll have a better idea of the footprint, and we have a better idea of costs and all that kind of stuff. So I think we can talk to it a lot more convincingly, shall we say, that we did the first time around. So I wouldn't totally give up hope for that. In the Econ Development Bill, which passed House and Senate last Thursday, I believe, it's still on its way to the governor's office, and she has apparently 10 days or thereabouts, I think, Scott, here, to look at it and say yay or nay to it. So it's not final yet, but we had some earmarks in there. From Rep. Pease, I think it was 150,000, and from Senator Vilas's office, it was $1 million. So whether any of that stayed throughout the conference committee, we don't know. And we may not know for another couple of weeks as to whether we can, get the level of detail there. But that will be helpful if any of that survived as earmarks for Southampton. And then I guess Scott and I had a phone call this morning with the Director of Rural Affairs out of Governor Healy's office, Ann Goby, and talked to her about our needs for funding and asked her, this is a new office created by the governor in the last year and a half-ish, thereabouts, I guess. Director of Rural Affairs didn't really exist before, so she's really in charge of helping, especially the Western Mass communities, do whatever we need and help on funding issues and so forth. So she also recommended the one-stop one, which we knew. She thought we might look into the USDA, but she wasn't sure that we qualified for it because they have different definitions for USDA in terms of what they define a community as. So she was going to look at some other options for us and get back to us, but we're on her radar screen now. She suggested waiting a little bit until, similar to what Charlie was saying, not knowing what's coming down the pike. But she said, reach out a little bit later, toward the end of January, early Feb, when the governor's budget is out by then, hopefully. And then after the inauguration, we'll know a little bit which way the wind is blowing, although it'll still be early, but we'll have a sense of, whether Massachusetts is on the nasty list or the good list.
Yeah.
There are some uncertainties, but I don't think they're impossibilities necessarily. It's just a matter of re-navigating things, and then again trying to figure out if any of the infrastructure money from the Biden administration is for this kind of project. So far, a lot of it has been for other kinds of projects and not construction of public facilities. There is a bill, John, you and I, when we were at the fire department breakfast meeting, there was the legislation that was talked about that was passing around to be able to fund construction of public facilities, and that was a direct result, I think, of the former state auditor's report on the sad state of public facilities, especially in Western Mass, but across the Commonwealth a couple of years ago. There's a bill that's been floating around, but it's never had any money attached to it. And so, according to what we learned this morning, Senator Comerford and Rep. Lay from this area of the state are sponsoring it in the next session and are trying to figure out how to put money behind it so that, should it pass, it's got some money to go somewhere. So there's work still being done. It's not an impossibility, but it's not going to be a quick process for sure. So anyway, that's about all I know on the funding side. But yeah, we do have some uncertain times, but we're still keeping our ears open and digging into every corner that we hear of that might have something that is relevant for us. And so many things are out there that are not appropriate for Southampton. I mean, so much of it is a demographic cutoff and just income cutoff, all those kinds of things that, sometimes it just doesn't make sense applying for stuff. It's just not a chance that we would be competitive. So anyway, that's what I know on that. So speaking from the grant committee side.
I'll go back to what's up, Chuck. Remember the question was, how much money have you raised, and how much
Yeah.
have you committed to it? And we
Yeah.
purchased property.
Yeah.
And we've already committed, the money for design, so we have some, show
Right.
of commitment on
Yeah.
our end, plus
We do.
we'll have more plans and
We
more
do.
definitive answers.
Correct.
For the
Yeah.
application.
So we do, like I say, we were really writing in theoretical,
Yeah.
imaginary terms, quite honestly, the last time. So I feel much better about, at least having concrete information to work from this
Yeah.
year. So I think that's, at least a possibility. So that's it. Good.
Thank you.
Talk about the next couple of months are gonna be just a mystery.
Well, that time will pass anyway as we wait for the land planning.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I know.
All right, so we will go back to you, Scott. Thank you for coming. We would like a land planning update.
This is a timeline that was provided by PVPC. That should be enough right there. So we're in November right now, so we hope to have all the contracts signed probably next couple of days, hopefully. And the kickoff meeting will take place early December. Now, it is about an 8 or 9 month process, but the real area, or the real task is drawing the final concept plan, which I hope would be done in June, July. So that's the real goal, to have that at least completed, so we know where everything's going to be situated, especially with the Council on Aging and the Public Safety Building Complex. So those are the two knowns. So,
Any possibility of getting at least a concept map for town meeting, annual town meeting?
it's in May. Yeah, I think a general thing might be
I'm just-
feasible. I don't know though. I'm not the
I know.
planner, but I think an idea, yeah.
I'm just thinking, Scott, that's when everybody in town is talking about the town. So if there's some kind of a concept map, at least it gets them
Yeah.
thinking.
So, I mean, we definitely know that the Council on Aging and the Public Safety Building will be there, and we should have the design by HKT at that point, hopefully. So they should be able to cite at least those two, and then a big question
Yeah.
mark for the rest of it.
Yeah.
So you foresee pretty much during December, a lot of the meetings with the different committees, is that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It would, first one would be obviously the Public Safety Building Committee, and then the Senior Center Building Committee would be next, because those are the two primaries.
Mhm.
And I think maybe talk a little bit about this 40R zoning, or Mark, this came before planning board, right? That 40R zoning issue? Maybe people don't know. Just explain what it is for people that sort of.
Yeah, 40 hours of comprehensive primarily for low-income housing, and it's rather small, so it would make it require to have a change to the actual zoning bylaws, and we're in the process of trying to rewrite that, but it won't be ready probably about before spring town meeting.
It also allows for like mixed use, so we could have like residential above commercial shops, things like that.
Does it allow for greater density?
That too, yep.
Does it hinge on getting the sewer study, and how will that, the study that we're still waiting for?
40R in general for the entire town, there might be some other options in different areas. For this specific area, it probably wouldn't be worthwhile unless we take sewer into account. So yeah, we would need to finalize the sewer study and get permission from the railroad.
What's the status of that, getting that study? Isn't that sort of due?
We've had the draft, I think it was the draft form, so
Oh.
they have to present the findings, so it is possible. So we got a tentative thumbs up from an engineering standpoint, but we have to dive into the cost and the other details.
And again, that would be much more relevant and needed for any housing we put up
Right.
there. We're not trying to tie the complex or senior center to it, so.
I wouldn't be too worried about the complex or the senior center. It's the housing that,
Correct.
you know, any talk about package sewer plants?
Not yet. When they come and present stuff, we'll probably
Just,
have more chance to discuss.
I mean, to give you an example, what's it, Hillside Meadows has pretty much a package plant behind there that requires an engineer to go out there every couple of days to check it and everything else, because it's so large.
Where is
Yeah,
this?
groundwater discharge permit, that's.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a groundwater discharge permit and all the rest of that, has a PE that does a review. You know, Paisanos,
Yep.
the apartment complex behind it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now, how many apartments are in there? There's gotta be,
There's 6 per, so there's about 60 maybe.
yeah, 60, and so they have what I call a package plant septic system there
Okay.
that has to take and have a groundwater discharge permit and everything else. Has to have an engineer that checks it every few days and certifies it's operating properly. That's where the fire truck got stuck in the sewer line.
Is that Long Hill Gardens? Is that
Yes,
one?
yeah.
Yeah, kid flushed the fire truck down the toilet.
But what did you mention about Hillside Meadows? Is that a different one?
No, I'm sorry, I had those names confused.
Oh, you mean
It's-
Long Hill Gardens?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, if you were gonna go over to Greenbrier, those are all huge septic systems. And I mean huge.
for that apartment complex there?
Yeah, now there's 3 distinct brand-new septic systems
Hmm.
that went in there. And each one is, I don't know, almost 100 feet long by 50 feet wide. What I'm getting at is, if you're gonna do this land use planning, think about that being an option out there, because it might be something to deal with the multi-use apartment buildings or something like that, rather than just trying to do your straight tank and stone and close enough.
There's a lot of wetlands associated with our newly acquired property down there, which I don't believe apply at Greenbrier or Long Hill
No,
Gardens. They're
no.
that's higher up, isn't it?
Yeah, but most of the land that we've acquired is not, it's way above the wetlands. It's when you get down to the railroad tracks and all that, that it becomes wet.
Yeah, but isn't that part of the whole parcel?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you don't put the septic there.
No, but
I mean, I wouldn't put it there, but maybe somebody else would. I mean, lately, I've been wondering about some of these places.
Well, the 40R is completely separate and far down the road from our concerns. Hopefully, our building will be built and in good use by the time that
Yeah.
gets worked out. All right, well, so that's all in process. And really, let's see, our next step is to get the revised feasibility plan, and we are more or less just on hold with that while they start their work. Is that true?
So I talked to Janet of HKT last week. They're all set from, a contractual standpoint and everything, so they're moving forward with that. They're gonna be reaching out to the police and fire chief. I don't know if they did already?
No.
No, okay, so they're probably gonna be doing that this week. So they're gonna have a conversation with the police and fire chief, and then get a little bit more data, and then bring everything back to the committee.
And has the revised plan with the Xed off, with the elimination of the rooms been submitted to them?
Yes, but they need to have a little bit more detail.
Of course,
So,
of course.
yeah,
But they do at least know what the chiefs were thinking.
absolutely.
That gives them a bit of a starting point. Okay, so they'll be meeting with the chiefs, and then we're more or less suspended while they do their work. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did they give us a time frame on that, Scott?
Not yet. I think they're gonna probably talk to the chiefs first and see how long it's gonna take. I think the initial one was like, between 90 and 120 days. So, shouldn't be too long, couple months. Doesn't allow for a lot of flexibility though, from our standpoint, so.
So I don't know that we've had a specific date of perhaps a special town meeting. And will there be anything to go before the town, for the special town meeting related to the complex?
Possibly.
You missed it, a person was here momentico as, and a potential OPM.
Oh,
Potential OPM who's based in Westfield apparently, did I get it right? Yeah.
But she said she lived in Southampton.
Right, or
formerly.
grew up or had her kids here or something, I don't know what she.
Yeah, I think she said she raised her children
Right,
there.
yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so anyway, so she popped in for the meeting just briefly to find out if we were ready to do, what was it, the 2 different kinds of contracts.
Yeah.
One with, go ahead and keep that, Scott.
Oh, thanks.
I forget. the one with
General
the
contractor.
General contractor versus, I forgot the term she used now, yeah, but I told her we weren't at that stage yet.
Yeah. And I know at the public, senior center building committee, they had some conversations about getting some funding as well for their OPM.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
Well-
so I think when we were talking about, I mean, in the discussion at the senior center one just last week was whether just in terms of efficiency, I guess, whether each entity had its own OPM or not. And they were certainly leaning toward combined forces on an OPM.
Who's they?
The senior center building committee.
Oh,
Um,
really?
So combining forces on an OPM, but probably separate architecture firms, because there's so much that's very specific to fire and police, very different from senior center stuff. So that was how they were kind of leaning as they had their discussion last week, that, you know, whenever we get to that point, that, you know, a joint OPM that would be sort of in charge of the interests of the town toward the construction of both facilities would make some sense that was how they looked at it. So I don't know if we're at that, but we were thinking about that as, you know, something that we'll have to have more discussion on it, but maybe we'd be ready to talk about that at the special town meeting.
So is there cost efficiency related to having just one OPM? And the second question is it just one human being, or is an OPM like a
It's
team?
usually a company, but usually have a single representative, maybe two representatives from OPM.
I see.
We jointly work on it. There's a lot of bookkeeping. It's not just one guy sitting around watching the nails going at what
Yeah.
it's
Uh-huh.
checking the subcontractors and making alternative requests.
But even if it turned out to be two OPMs, it would seem to me that there should be a regular discussion to make sure there isn't, if there's efficiencies regarding building, regarding needs, the message to town, the message working with town, all those things, there should be some,
Typically, the OPM is just responsible for carrying out the architectural plans.
yeah.
And maybe making suggestions for alternatives to some of the products in there, type of siding, type of heating, or things like that. But
Hmm.
they're pretty much, the job is to make the contractor comply with the architectural plans in the best interest of the town. He doesn't work for the architect. Usually the architect will hire their own, part of the architecture will be construction administration and construction innovation, but architect will be out there as well doing that. But OPM is sort of making sure everything's not going to the architect benefit or the contractor's benefit, but it's going for the town's benefits.
Are we talking about simultaneously constructing these two facilities?
Yeah, it's strictly during construction that this would happen. You have the OPM.
No, he's asking, are we gonna build both buildings at the
Yeah.
same time?
Who knows?
Possibly, or within a certain period of time of each other.
Is that a problem?
Just standing up at town meeting and saying I want X millions of dollars, I want to do all this today. And,
Who put you in charge of that?
right,
Make
yeah.
it convincing.
Borough vest, please.
Well, I think the thinking would be that we have to go to town meeting for, you know, getting the OPM, whatever that cost is gonna be, and also getting, being able to hire on an architect or both, two architects, I don't know what it would be, to get in this, you know, the architectural drawings and, you know, some of the pre-construction permitting and whatever else has to happen. So that, I forget, at some point, wasn't Ed telling us it was like 10% of the overall building cost or something like that? So you're talking, you know, a couple, hey. Where are you, yeah. $2-3 million or whatever that we'd have to be asking at town meeting or something, so. This is the. So, anyway, I don't know, but I mean, I think that would be, once we get the land use planning going, at some point, we want to be able to get something started on the OPM at least. And I think, doesn't the OPM help us choose an architect or help rate?
Timeline.
Yeah, we have to hire the
They can.
OPM first.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they can help with the RFP and
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff as well. So there's kind of maybe some simultaneous things going on, but I think it goes back to something that Chief had said way back when about, you know, trying to get, you know, do we want to get just the pre-construction type stuff done as one lump of money at town meeting and then go back later on and say, okay, now we need, you know, $20 million to construct whatever, because that was the issue, right? Was,
Mhm,
you
yeah.
know, suppose we have the OPM and the architect approved, but then town
Right.
meeting shoots that down. So I think we still have to strategize that, I think, and figure out how we present it and when we're ready to do that.
And the senior center committee, they're going out to kind of get an updated cost analysis as well, because theirs is a couple of years old. So I think generally you're looking at around 1,000 square foot as well, so.
$1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I think that ties up what you need to report to us today, right, Scott? Do you
Mhm.
have anything more you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Are we on to other business?
We are.
All right. So, we've made our way through quite quickly tonight. Is there any other business that can't wait until the next meeting?
Pick another day for a meeting.
Before picking another day for a meeting, Scott mentioned we have a 90 to 120 days before HKT finishes their study. How much are we going to be involved? They're going to be involved with us during that process. And we have some joint meetings with them or some presentations to review that.
It's going to be a little bit more efficient than last time. They're really going to talk to the chiefs first and go from there, and then they're probably going to come back to the committee just to kind of show where they are in the process and get some input. But with the time frame and smaller footprint, there's not as much wiggle room, I guess.
Is there anything else we can ask of them to reduce costs? Can anybody think of anything as far as like, what can we do to reduce costs even more than just making it a smaller?
We don't need a chief's office.
No, I'm just, I think about the, while it's not necessarily the best form of construction, but even, like the bays, does that have to be, can that be constructed in a cheaper material? I'm just putting that out there.
I've definitely emphasized the concern for cost.
Mhm.
So hopefully, when we get
Okay.
a little bit down the road, we can get rid of all the white marble and all the slate roof.
The guild.
The other part of the problem is this building has to be constructed to the codes that anticipate earthquake, tornado, all that kind of stuff, because it is the public safety facility. That costs more.
It's funny because we were looking at the cost per square foot for the senior center, and it was like around $800 a couple of years ago, and now it's obviously $900 to $1,000.
Yeah. I think you jointly have said over and over and over again, we just want to get this done in the most economical way,
Mhm.
and
I've been at
they've
this
heard
for
it.
almost
That's my
14
feeling.
years now.
What?
I've been at this for almost 14 years now. Sort of like, yeah, let's get this done, man.
The original one would have almost been paid off.
I know, I thought about that. And that was, we were told was the Taj Mahal, and now
So
we're
with-
four
with the-
times.
With the work that they're gonna be doing, do we probably want a meeting just before Christmas sometime? I mean, it seems like we should have one more meeting to see,
Just
after
even
they talk to
updates,
you
maybe,
guys,
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that
Post
maybe
it.
that second week or so of December, they might wanna touch base with the committee. I don't know, I mean, I'm just wondering, we should reserve a date anyway for a meeting, and then if they don't need it, so be it. I would hope they'd touch base with us before they went off on their own a little bit, I don't know.
Then you got the land use project going on too, they may want to.
Right, and that, looking at the map, is a little bit odd, but I would think the focus groups, what's there is 1-9 now. I mean, some of that other stuff, reviewing plans and getting maps and spreadsheets and whatever is not any major event, but I guess I'm a little bit concerned that they put a survey about community needs first before the focus. I don't know that the numbers mean anything, they may just be a list, but a survey at 1-6, starting with a survey rather than talking to the various committees that have expressed interest in land first. I would hope that they'd start with that first.
I don't know if I agree with that, Chris. I think the survey could sort of elicit more specific kinds of things. Then when they go to the focus groups, they can base some of the questions on the results of the survey.
Well, I don't think they'll be having just one meeting with the focus groups. I mean, the project committees, I mean, I think there'll be more than one meeting with them, but I mean.
You want to have a
Well,
meeting on the
I don't know.
16th?
It just seemed a little bit backwards to me, but I guess until we have the kickoff meeting, we don't really know, so.
1/9 is for the key stakeholders.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
That's not until January, according to this, so.
Right. I'm not sure how that arrow impacts it with link to survey.
That's the first meeting, project.
So, anyway, I think we'll just have to clarify it during the kickoff meeting as to what they mean there.
When you spoke with HKT, did they give any indication as to where the public safety building complex was gonna be on this lot? Because that could change things too, with
Yeah.
them, right?
Yep. They're
So-
gonna work with the land use planner on that part.
They are.
Yeah. And they have a lot of like alternatives now that we have the whole parcel. You know, you don't have to make that long driveway.
Right, yeah, that's what I was
Less
wondering.
concerned about
Will they
turnaround.
not be able to really give us a complete estimate if we don't know where the project's gonna be or where it's gonna be on the land?
I think that with the land use planner and HKT, it's gonna come into focus at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, so, I think Charlie tossed out the possibility of December 16th as the next meeting date. Is that a Monday?
Yeah.
Does that work?
And then if we don't need it, we can cancel it, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
4:30?
Yes. All right then. Motion to adjourn?
So moved, so moved.
Second, please.
There we go.
I need a second. I had a lot of motions.
I'll make a second.
Okay, Charlie makes the second. All in favor?
Well, I guess you were right, huh?
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.